Hello and welcome to the French Watch Collector. Today on the bench we have a vintage Omega watch, a watch that I think I've seen some better days because it's not in very good condition. It's a simple watch, let's say, so that I did not work on a simple watch for a long time, and sometimes it's good to go back to the basic. And I fell in love actually with the shape of this watch with the case, which actually quite a big case, like 36 millimeter for like a watch, old watch. And you can see there when I put it on a time grapher, actually it's not running very well. It's gaining 91 seconds per day. The amplitude around 230 to 40 is not that bad, but it's not great. So yeah, I think it was not serviced for a long time. So basically what we're gonna do, we are gonna disassemble fully this watch and restore it the best I can to give it a new life. So first, let's open the case back and see what we can find inside. So it's a screw down, it's a screw case back. You see, I open it with my rubber ball, which is like my preferred tool to open the case back. And here you see the beautiful, so it's like a mechanical, it's a manual, a mechanical system, a movement from Omega. And you can see there's the case back with the Omega logo. And actually you can see the 2839, which is a model of this watch. And you see the serial number there, which is a big number, like on a case, on a movement starting by 13, which means that this watch is actually from 1952. So it's quite an old watch. And you see there is some sign of rust on the movement, like you see on the screws, on a ratchet wheel. So we are gonna try to clean all of that. A bit later on in a video, to thanks out my subscribers, I will announce a giveaway and for you to win one of my watches that I restored on this channel. So stay tuned to learn more about it later in the video. Okay, so now I'm just removing the case clamps and the screws just to release the mechanism. And that's it. We just remove the case back, the case, sorry. And now I'm just going to align the hand to midnight, to 12 o'clock. The dial actually is in pretty good condition. There is some marks on it, but not that bad actually from a watch from 1952. Yeah. So always protect the dial when I want to remove the hand. So I remove the first set of hand with my Presto tool, and for the second hand, sorry, I will use the hand lever from that I have from Morotech. And now basically that the hand I can remove this beautiful dial, and I will just put it away somewhere just to make sure it's safe. So if you want to have more details as well on some of the tools that I'm using in my video, you can find some links down below in the description of some of the tools. But if you don't find, or if you have any question, please put your question in the comments, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, so we remove the dial, and now we're going to start to remove the first few parts on the dial side. Just like to remove the cannon pinion there with the Presto tool, just to make sure later on we'll be able to release the center wheel from the train of wheel. First, remove the power. So I'm going to release gently the power by holding the crown, between my fingers, and releasing all the power which is stored in a mainspring. And when it's done, now I know that I can remove safely the parts. And the first one I like to remove is always the balance assembly, because it's really fragile. So don't want to damage it or run the risk of damaging it during the assembly. Especially you see this spring, this beautiful blue spring, which is very thin. And if you have a kink or a bend in it, it will ruin like the accuracy of the watch. So, and it's a bit tricky to put it back in shape. So yeah, just to make sure, like, and don't have any risk of damaging it. That's why I remove these parts as soon as I can. Yeah. Okay, removing the pallet fork there. And obviously we are going to remove all the parts, and basically the process is to disassemble everything, each single parts. And then we go into a cleaning machine to remove like any old oil or any lubricant that was put on a watch, or any oil, like you see maybe some rust or some dust or anything that went into the mechanism over the time. And we'll reassemble everything, re-oil everything. And if we see any parts which are damaged or that I can repair or change, we will do it, obviously, when we put it back together. And normally we should have a watch which is like nicer looking on the outside and better inside. And you see there's a plate that there is between the barrel arbor and the plate. That's not good here. So obviously, when we will reassemble the movement, remember that there is a big plate there, and this will ruin the amplitude of the watch and the accuracy of the watch. So we need to address that, and we'll see a bit later on how we will address this issue. Okay, removing like two little screws that are so small. Yeah, the two little screws which are on a crown wheel there, which is a design which is in different pieces. You see, you have a centerpiece and a wheel with like the teeth on the outside. A bit stuck there. It's quite tight. Maybe some dried up oil or grease that keep it a bit tight. But you see that it's in two parts, and you have this plate on the bottom there, probably just for the wear. And now that all the parts are removed, we can remove the screws and this big plate on top, and you can see there the movement number as well, which is looks like 266, which is in a 200 series. I really like, I already said on this channel, like, and I have restored some watches from Omega. I really like the 200, 300, 500 series movement from Omega. Obviously, this one, they are manual wine, so quite simple if you want. They are so robust, so great, so well designed. Some of the parts, if they are broken or damaged, can be expensive to find, because obviously, like, this is like I said, this watch is from 1952, so it's quite an old watch. They made quite a few of them, so there is still some parts around, but yeah, it can be expensive to find some parts. So that's why I don't advise like for people to start on a mechanism like this, because yeah, the parts are not very common. So if you damage a part during the assembly, or if you lose a part, it can cost some money to get a new one. But yeah, the movement are simple, very well designed, very robust, and most of the time, if you see anything wrong on the movement, you will be able to fix it. So yeah, just cleaning all the jewels there. You see with a piece of pegwood, just to remove any dried up oil or grease. We make it easier when we put it in a cleaning machine a bit later on. And now I'm installing back the balance with, like I said, this beautiful blue air spring on this model, because this is a safe place to keep the balance wheel during cleaning. So that's why I just put it back on. Okay, that's the part that we want to clean. Is these jewels there, which are shock protected. Just getting the jewels out, putting back the spring in place, just to make sure it doesn't move during cleaning. And we clean the jewels separately, like in a little box. I put like in a little basket in a cleaning machine, just to make sure as well, because they are lubricated, just to make sure that the old oil gets removed during the cleaning process. Do the same on the other side. There we go. And just put back this spring, which just click in place. You see you have a groove underneath, and each arms, like the two arms, go underneath and click into place. There we go. Now, just going to disassemble the barrel assembly. Again, just to make sure that the parts are fully clean inside. Okay, just removing the spring. And everything will be washed and cleaned separately. There you go. You see the spring, which is in good shape actually, so we probably can reuse it. Nothing is broken. The shape looks good. Cleaning the pivot from the wheel there, just with like a flex product, just to make sure you remove again like any dried up oil or grease. And we're gonna put all the parts in these baskets, and everything will go into my cleaning machine. And normally we should get back some clean part after it, and we'll be ready to reassemble the mechanism. Okay, so the cleaning is done in 3 stages. We have a cleaning phase first, and 2 stages of rinsing, and the last one will be the drying parts. So during the cleaning, I would like to thank my patrons and to tell you that I have a Patreon page where people can support me and can support the channel. This will help me to put better content, obviously, because it takes quite a lot of time. So I would like to thank Rune, Christian, Corne, Alan, Swami, David, Ted, Michael, Stephen, John, Tim, Gray, and Gregory. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. And if you want to join the group and help me to give you more content, and if you like it, you can go and find the link of my Patreon page down below in the description, and you can subscribe to one of the plan. So I thank you in advance. Okay, so now the parts are clean, rinse, and fully dry. So we're just finishing to make them to cool them down. And the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to reassemble the barrel assembly. And for this, first I'm just going to put the barrel arbor, just close the barrel assembly without the spring. And I'm just going to check first if it's, you see, rotating freely. Yes, and then check. And there, actually, you see it's moving up and down. It's moving a bit too much. So too much handshake. So I'm just going to press it down slightly so to reduce the handshake. Because again, if you have too much handshake, it will the barrel assembly will move inside the movement, and this can reduce the amplitude and the accuracy of the watch. So now that is done, I'm rewinding the mainspring with my version winder. You can see there at the end, there is always a little lip there. It's actually what's come and stops the mainspring from winding because it's a manual winding spring. So obviously you arrive at one point where it stops winding. And here we go, the little tongue go inside. Just I do couple of turn in the reverse direction to release the tension. And now I'm going to remove the handle, and basically inside we'll have the mainspring will be fully winded. And after a few steps, you will be ready to go back inside the barrel assembly. Okay, just gently pulling there on the handle. That's it is out. And you can see there inside, the mainspring is fully wind. So first we're going to put some grease. So I put some special grease. You can find as well in the description the grease and the oil that I'm using. And now I'm just going to push back. Here we go. The mainspring that was winding, you remember, just rewind it in my version winder. And I put it back into the barrel. Putting the barrel arbor in the center there, just pressing it in place. Just need to find the right position there, just slowly going on one side. There we go. Perfect. Going to lubricate as well the barrel arbor and the top there, and we can close the mainspring. And for this, I use a little tool, plastic tool, where you just put the mainspring assembly there, you align it into the center. And with the cover, the plastic cover, I'm just going to put it on top of it and just press it. And this will close the barrel assembly. So we already checked before the handshake and we adjust it. So to thank you with all the support you are giving me on the channel, I will do a simple giveaway with this beautiful Longines that I restored on the channel. I will do the giveaway on the 26th of December, so you will describe the winner. And for this, you have 3 simple steps. First, you need to like the video. You need to be a subscriber, obviously, to the channel. And you need to put a comment down below why you love so much vintage watches. So thanks for participating and good luck in this giveaway. Okay, so now the next step, we're gonna treat some parts in Epilam. So I'm treating the pallet fork, the escape wheel, and the jewels from the balance assembly. So the Epilam will help the oil to be retained at the correct spot, better like if it's not treated, and the oil will not spread as easy as it will be without the treatment. So we go now. The parts, I leave them like few seconds inside the solution, just blowing a bit of air on it just to dry them. And the next step would be to start the oiling process of the jewels. First, cleaning the pivot. I will clean each pivot from the pallet fork and the escape wheel just to remove the epilam from the pivot point. And there I'm putting a drop of oil right in the center of the jewel For there, I use my thinnest oil from Moebius, which is a 9010, and just putting back the chaton on top of it there, and going to do the same on the other one, just putting a drop of oil in the center. And when it's done, obviously we will reassemble and put them back in the balance assembly. You remember with the shock setting spring. So basically before, like the watch, they did not have a shock setting. So the balance staff, which is a pivot from the balance wheel, uh, if you had a big shock, like for example, if your watch was falling on the ground or anything, the balance staff was breaking straight away. And it's actually quite a tricky operation to change a balance staff. So they created this shock setting where you have the jewel and you see the spring actually is it's like a damper. If you have a shock, the balance can move up and down a bit on the spring. It's like a damper, so this prevent breaking the pivot from the balance staff, and that's why this is better. And now on most of the obviously all the watches have this shock setting, and you don't break balance staff as much as before. There, I'm reducing the hole. You remember the hole on the plate, which has a big between the plate and the barrel arbor that has a plate. I just punch it just slightly to reduce the hole. And you see there now, when I'm putting it on the barrel arbor, it doesn't go anymore. So it means the hole, now I make the hole too small. Before it was too big because he had some play, and now it is too small. Okay, so that's what I wanted. And now with a brush here, a smoothing brush, I'm just opening the holes ever so slightly until I get the perfect fit. And you see, so now when I'm putting on a barrel assembly, yeah, so it goes down. So now the hole is bigger. And when I'm checking the play, you see, it's not moving anymore. Like when I rock it, you see when I move it, it's not moving like it was before, left, right. So I remove the play between the two parts. And like I said, this is you need to do it because or else your watch, you see the barrel arbor will touch. The barrel assembly will touch the center wheel because you will have some play in a hole, and that will reduce dramatically your amplitude and accuracy of the watch. So yeah, that's very important. Okay, so now I'm placing back the barrel assembly plate on top, putting the screws. There we go. Oiling like the point, like and the hole that I just reduced with my punch. And we can start now reassemble the part on the top. So first we're gonna do the click with the click spring. Always putting some oil with all the parts. I will have a contact metal to metal, and I will rotate or move between each other. You need to make sure you lubricate just to remove the friction. That will help the watch to run smoothly, and obviously that will as well reduce the wear. Because if the part is too much wear, yeah, sometimes you cannot fix it like I just did on the plate there, but you will have to change a part if it's too far gone. Yeah, and like I explained before, on some of the especially of these vintage watches, it can cost quite a lot of money to find a new part or make a new part. So yeah, you want them to have them serviced properly at a regular interval and with the proper oiling and greasing to make sure they get obviously this watch like this one is from 1952, yeah. And if you have a well designed mechanical system like Omega did, obviously, if it's maintained properly over the year, it will run forever. Yeah, it can already like almost run for like 70 years, but it can go much further, and it will run like for many years if you do your service properly and a regular interval and the correct way. So that's the beauty, obviously, of a mechanical system which was well designed and well manufactured. Just need to take care of it, and it will last for generation. Okay, so now I just put back the train of wheel, and actually, you see, as well crazy. Like I just put back the bridge on top, and all the wheels were align straight away when I make rotate the center wheel. Each wheel while rotating, so it means that they are in their correct pivot holes. So I can secure the bridge by putting the screws. That's quite rare actually. That all the wheel you just drop the bridge on top and everything is aligned. So that's a sign as well of very good quality in a mechanism and movement where everything fall into parts perfectly. Okay, so now we move to the dial side and we're going to assemble the keyless work. So you see there, I'm using some blue grease, which is like a heavier grease because this part are going to see a lot of friction. So that's why I'm using not oil, but a grease. Putting there the winding stem, the setting lever. Again, putting the grease there in middle of the clutch. When the yoke is going to come in the middle through it. So this mechanism and this side of the watch is basically what will make the switch between winding and between time setting. So all these parts are there to connect basically the movement that you're going to put on a crown when you're going to turn it, and whatever position it is going to connect to pass the power from your rotation of the crown to the mainspring, or is going to pass it to the correct wheel to change and make the hands rotate on your watch. Yeah. Okay, so the last part there, just putting the setting lever spring, just arming it there. You see that's the spring actually, this long arm. There we go. Just putting it there. Just again, there is a space that see a place that see a lot of friction, and you see when I pull on it, it does a two position. Okay, we move to the other side. Just put the pallet fork in place. Just put now the pallet fork bridge on top of it. Again, just need to make sure it fall into place. You see that? It's going down. That's it. Perfect. Just don't want to use too much strength or else you will bend the pivot point from the pallet fork. And when it's in place, put the screws. And something that I struggle a lot to do on camera is to oil, because you have to oil the pallet fork jewels. And you will lubricate as well the escape wheel. So that I do it off camera. And just putting some power there. And you see there when it's the pallet fork is clicking, so it means the power is coming to the pallet fork, so that's good. Before putting the balance assembly, gonna oil all the jewels from the train of wheel on both sides, obviously. And now we can put the balance assembly and see if the movement want to start and the watch want to start running. Yeah. Okay, just moving it a bit, rotating it, make sure it fall into place. See, there we go. And you see, just a little impulse and the movement just started. And now I can secure it with the screw. There we go. We have a runner. That's good. So let's focus on a case. Just first, I'm going to clean it into the ultrasonic machine. And you can see there some dust coming out like from the case. And after cleaning it, I'm going to do a very, very light polish. It's more to give it a shine. It's not really a polish because I'm using my lightest cotton wheel there with my lightest polish compound. I just did a light polish on a case and on a case back as well, just to give it some shine. You will see at the end, obviously I don't want to remove the character from the watch. It will still be some scratches. The point is not to have a vintage watch which is looking like a new one to me, so just to have it a clean one, a bit more shiny, a bit nicer, but not like a new one, okay? Just doing the case back. And again, just going through the ultrasonic machine to remove the polish compound. Okay, we are just going to put a new crystal because you remember the crystal was fully scratched. So this is a crystal with a tension ring. So I'm going to use my press there, my immersion press, just putting a film there on top to protect, to make sure the crystal doesn't get damaged when I press it into place. And just going to rotate, and basically it's going to press down the crystal into the case. There we go. And now we'll just release, and that's it. We install the crystal, a new one on the in the case. Okay. So let's finish on the movements. I'm going to put a drop of oil there. Going to put the how wheel. Going to put the little spring there on top, and I'm going to unscrew like the dial fit screw, and I'm installing the dial now in place. Always, you see, I'm using my carbon tweezer tips just to make sure I don't scratch the dial. And when it's in place, I just screw it back, the screws in place, just to make sure the dial is secured. Really like this dial, it has like a small patina on it. Obviously, it has some marks. You see, it has a grain to it. Like it's probably some humidity, like that oxidate a bit the dial. Just a quick polish there on the logo and our markers, just to give it some shine. Just going to do the same, very very light on the hands, hour, minute, and second hands. Again, it's not a polish; it's just to brush them slightly to give them a bit of a shine. And now we're gonna start to install the hand. First, the hour hand, just pressing into in place. Perfect. Going to align it to midnight. Here we go. And now just going to put the minute hand, same process, put it in place. This one, now we need to place it and align it precisely to midnight. And with my hand setting tool, just, there we go, a gentle press on it until it's in position. And just checking there if the hand are aligned. I'm going to check at 6 o'clock. Not really happy with the alignment there. You see it's a bit off at 6 o'clock. So I'm just going to reset the minute hand. Just going to check at 6. Obviously, the camera is a bit off center, but it's not too bad. Let's check at 7. If his hour hand is aligned on 7 and a minute at 12, yeah, that's good. I'm happy with the alignment. So last one is a second sub-second hand. Again, just a gentle press in place. There we go. Perfect. Just checking that the hands are not touching each other and everything looks good. Okay, I'm just going to put back the tube, the crown tube, because I took it out when I did my polishing. So for this, I have a tool that will press the tube back in the case. So now it just go down and press the tube in place. It's friction mounted, and there we go. Now I'm just releasing it, and the tube is back in the case. So can put back the case now on top of the movement, and you see with the new crystal, or you see that with the fully broken one, that give a totally new look to the watch. And as well with clean movement inside, looks so nice. So always very nice looking, the movement from Omega with this color, with the ruby coming out. Just checking like now the winding stem and the crown are okay. Can secure it with the case clamp. We see two case clamp. Now putting the second one. And yeah, we still have a couple of steps to do. First, we'll have to put a seal and close the watch, and the last will be see how well it run on a time grapher. So now just putting a new gasket. So I just put it into a box like with Molycode, which is a grease that again will prevent moisture coming into the watches. It will help the water tightness of the watch. There we go. And now just installing back around the case back. Just using my tweezer there just to make sure it's fully in place. There we go. And we can close the watch, close the case back. Again, using my rubber ball now to close it, and I always close them after with the proper tool. Just put back a new strap because this watch actually came without a strap. Just going to demagnify the watch just to make sure there is no magnification in the movement. And here we see the result on the time grapher. The amplitude went up, you see, around 260, 270. And the watch is running around between 0 and -4 seconds per day, which is much better. The bit error is actually a bit high, so I will have to tweak it. I like it to have it below 1, but not too bad for now, but I will adjust it. And here you see the finished watch with this beautiful dial, and a bit bigger for a vintage watch, and that's why I like it. So hope you like this restoration, and I see you next time for my next video. Bye bye.